everyone, it's Alyssa from the Township Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make some winter decorated sugar cookies. So for this, you can use whatever your favorite roll-out, cut-out sugar or butter cookie recipe is. My favorite one happens to be a Land O'Lakes cutout cookie recipe. You can just go ahead and Google that. It'll come up. But for today's cookies, I actually used Place and Bake sugar cookies from the grocery store, and I just added extra flour and I made sure that they were chilled beforehand. If you add the extra flour, it becomes less sugar and butter. These are very sticky and wet. And if you chill them, whatever butter, oil, or whatever is in these particular cookies won't spread as much. So with the combination of that, I was able to come up with some cookies that held their shape and did not spread. That was my quick solution to not wanting to make a full batch of cookies today. So you may have seen the Halloween cookie decorating video, and I used some of the same techniques in terms of royal icing, which I'll talk about as we get into the video, but I did update it a little bit with some different techniques. Of course, we have new shapes because it's winter now. All right, so we are going to get started. Here we go. Okay, so to get started, we're going to start with one of our snowmen. And for the base of the snowman, we're starting with a simple confectionery glaze. So I have confectioner's sugar, which is powdered sugar, and just some water, and a spoon to mix it all up. And so I want the base of my snowman just to be a really simple white. You can also add some vanilla flavoring if you would like. Some people do lemon, whatever you would like. I'm just going to leave mine plain. So you start with very little water at a time. Because it really dissolves all of the sugar quickly. So you'll see I'm just doing a little bit, and I'm just going to start mixing. I like to use a spoon because it helps to get the lumps out of the sugar. So as you can see, I'm really just trying to do just a drop at a time because I don't want to thin this out too much because then it doesn't stick to the cookie that well. This is a pretty nice thick glaze. I still have some sugar chunks on here. I'm going to get rid of those, work those in, make sure there are no more lumps. Okay, this is pretty good. Look at that. Pretty good. Okay. Just going to wipe my hands. I'm going to take my snowman and I'm going to let my snowman go for a bath in the glaze. There we go. This is nice and thick, so it coats the snowman pretty nicely, and then you can use your spoon to just finish any spots where you may have missed. And it does flatten out and even out on its own really nicely, but you can use your spoon to poke any little air bubbles that might be coming up. Okay, so I'm just going to set my snowman to the side to dry. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to use some blue food coloring, and we want to use just the smallest bit of blue that you could possibly imagine. So I'm going to go get a really tiny little metal tool. I also suggest using toothpicks for this. I have this very fine end of a metal thermometer, and I'm just going to just dab it in there really lightly, and I'm just not even going to put all of that in there, just a little bit, because this gel food coloring is really concentrated. And I don't want this to be a very dark blue. I want a nice light icy blue. That's nice. Oh, that's really good. Make sure I mix it really well. Just barely a touch more. Oh, that was a lot. Uh-oh. Let's see what happens. All right, now it's very blue. Oh well. Okay. And I'm going to dip my snowflake into the blue. Same as I did with the snowman. Give it a nice firm press. I'm gonna lift it up. And use my spoon to help make sure that I get around the whole cookie. There are no air bubbles. See, there are some air bubbles there, and I'm just going to use my spoon to pop them. Drizzle over any bald spots. And again, this icing will even itself out really nicely as it dries. So I'm going to go ahead and set my snowflake to dry. Okay, maybe I'll do one more. I have 2 snowflakes, so I'll do one more. Okay, so now this one is going to be set aside to dry as well, and they don't take that long to dry. So for the next step, we only need it to just kind of form a little shell, a little skin. Give it maybe 10 minutes at the most before you can start working on the next phase of decoration. Okay, so let's test and see. They have a thick enough skin where I can pipe on here and I'm not going to be upset about it. So we can start with, I'll give these a little bit more time to dry. Let's start with some trees. I made trees too. And so you can either decorate these just for winter or for Christmas. And I'll show you 2 different ways to do it. So what I did next was I made my royal icing. I have the recipe for that. I show you how to do that in my last video, the Halloween video, which I will link down below. But just remember, it's the same thing. It's confectioner sugar and water plus meringue powder. Meringue powder is nice and stable. It makes it thick. It makes it like cement, and it whips up really nicely. So, and then remember, I like to fill my bags using a glass. It's a lot easier to fill. I put the edge of the bag over the glass and I fill it up. And then I can take it out, seal up my bag, give it a good twist, and move all of my icing down to the bottom. And so you can see for the tree, I am using this kind of star-edged tip. This is, if you are looking for it in the craft store, this is a Wilton 18 star tip. It's not too big, but it's not teeny, teeny, tiny. And so what I'm going to do for the tree is I'm going to create my branches. I'm just going to do a little test here. Great. So I made sure that my royal icing is thick enough that, look, it holds its shape, but not too thick that it's impossible to squeeze out of the bag, because then sometimes you'll have it break around here or whatnot. So if you're watching my last video, I made this a little thicker than I did in the Halloween video. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. If you want to be a perfectionist, you can glaze the stump brown or fill it in with royal icing brown. I'm just leaving it, it's rustic. And I'm just going to start here and go down. And I release the pressure a little bit with my hand once I get towards the bottom, so it naturally thins and tapers off. And now I'm going to cover this messy edge by starting on my next row. I'm letting it overlap a little. Like that. And one more. So I'm going to put this back in my glass to keep it safe, keep my table clean. Okay, so if I want to decorate this just for winter, I have these really pretty silver sprinkles. They have some snowflakes. So I'm just going to pour some into my cap so I can better see what I have here. So pretty. So I'm going to decorate this one for winter. I'm going to do some snowflakes. I'm going to put a snowflake at the top just to make it look a little neater. And press them down. And then there are also some of these pretty little silver balls here I'm going to use. Some more snowflakes. It's snowing outside while I'm filming this, so I'm enjoying the snow. Okay, and then I can also go ahead and give a nice shake of, let's see, maybe some of this silver for snow, or I also have these very tiny white ones. Let's try the tiny white ones first. You can be daring and just sprinkle it right on, or you can be a little more precise like me. I'm going to sprinkle it in my hand and then let it go. All right. Oh, that's pretty. Of course, it's kind of going everywhere, but that's pretty. So that's your pretty winter tree. And I'm going to do one more and show you how I like to do for Christmas. And I do these every year. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with this tree. I'm going to get my piping bag. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. And release so it gets thinner and tapers at the edge. So right now I'm putting on a firm pressure and relax a little. Oops, that's all right. You can kind of fill it in if you don't want your tree to be bare, that's okay. we go. Let me find a nice spot for this one to sit. Right there. Okay, so I have these really pretty stars that I'm going to use for the top of the tree. Oh, two fell out. I'm going to eat one. So this is my star on the top of the tree. There we go. And then I like to use, let's see. So there's a really nice mix of little balls that could be ornaments, and I think that this is really fun to decorate. A really simple little Christmas tree. And we'll set it aside to dry. Okay, the next one that I'm going to do is our snowman right here in the center. So I'm going to switch to, I made a black royal icing, just like last time. And I believe this is a number 3 tip. It's one of those pre-made bags. It's a regular round tip. And I have just a little bit. I'm going to squeeze it all down to the bottom. Give it a little test. And it doesn't look black right now. Black is really hard to do, so is red, but it does tend to dry a little darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the brim and the hat for our little snowman. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'll go back on top with the brim so the brim is more accentuated. In the meantime, what do I want to do? You could use, you probably would want to use a thinner tip for such a small snowman to put on things like buttons and such. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some sprinkles for buttons. And so for that, I'm going to grab my white royal icing. And this is a size 2 tip. It's a lot smaller and finer. Great. And I'm going to use that to help me attach my buttons. So again, I'm just waiting for his hat to dry a little bit before I go back in with the brim to make a 3D detail. In the meantime, we're going to start on our snowflakes. So every snowflake is unique, and there is no right or wrong way to decorate your snowflake, but I'll show you a couple of examples. So again, I'm using, this is a thinner tip than I used for the black, and of course a different tip than I used for the tree. So it's a little thinner. And again, I'm not on top of the cookie, I am gliding above it. And that kind of helps you control your lines rather than trying to be on the surface. So there we go. So there's another snowflake. Okay, let's check on Frosty's hat over here. Okay, so now we're here by my snowman. This hat is dry enough, I think. I can go ahead and add a line for the brim. And then what I like to do to my snowman to make my snowman a little jazzier is I like to add a holly leaf. And a little holly berry. And stick them in while the brim is still wet. And that makes my snowman look just a little snazzy jazzy. But that's it. That's the last cookie that we had to decorate. That's all of them. So, okay, so I'll zoom this out again so you can see all of them. There we go. Those are all of our cookies. So we have 2 snowflakes, and there's no wrong way to decorate your snowflake. And I love using the sprinkles that have some shine to them. We have our snowman with a hat with a little zazz pizzazz and some buttons. And remember, you can do charcoal buttons, you can do rainbow buttons, do whatever you want. And you can do a Christmas tree, or you could do a really beautiful winter tree. I actually really like the winter tree better right now. I do like the star on top of my Christmas tree, but I love these little white pearly beads that look like snow caught in the branches. And then these dry pretty quickly. They're still fragile. I like to try to leave them for a few hours flat like this. But like my test royal icing over here that we only did a couple of minutes ago, what, like 10, 15 minutes ago, was already pretty dry to the touch. It will crush if I put too much pressure on it, but I can move it to another platter if my working space needs to be cleaned up. All right, so that is it. Okay, so that is it. We have cookies. They are decorated. They are ready to eat. I mean, maybe mine aren't. They're still a little wet, but I mean, look at how cute. I think this one is my favorite. I know. This one's definitely my favorite. This cute little winter tree is my favorite. And it is a hefty cookie. I mean, this is a lot of sweet icing on there. So excited for these cookies. I think they came out great. And I have a lot of fun when I'm decorating them. This is, you know, it's getting cold outside. Look at how cute that hat came out. It's getting cold out, it's getting darker out earlier. You can put on a movie, put on some music, and just decorate. Set up like a whole table full of different sprinkles and decorations and icing colors, and just have fun. Just have fun. I think this is really exciting. There we go, and there's one of my snowflakes. Look at that. So fun, so fun. And of course now my kitchen smells like sugar. Like everything just smells like sugar. And you know what? That makes me pretty happy. And I think this is a lot of fun. This is a really fun activity for an afternoon, for the weekend, for a Friday night, for whatever day when you are all home together with your family, your friends that you are able to be with right now. This is a lot of fun. If you have any questions about decorating your cookies, you can let me know. You can leave a comment or you can send me an email. And don't forget, the library has lots of dessert cookbooks. We have some cookie cookbooks. We have pies, cakes, chocolate. We have everything. We have so many cookbooks. So if you don't want to make just cookies and you have a holiday coming up that you're celebrating, or you're getting together with family and friends, if you are safely able to do so, check out one of our dessert cookbooks, because honestly, 'tis the season for desserts, right? I think I'm right. That is all for me today. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Please send me your pictures. If you decorate some cookies and you use some of the tips and techniques in this video, send me your pictures. I would love to see it. Until next time, I'm going to go have some cookies. All right, everyone. Bye.